don't know. What's going on?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine.
That's good. Nice to meet you. My name is Sonny.
Hi, Sonny. It's nice to meet you.
I appreciate you kicking it with us for a little bit.
No problem.
Let everybody know your name.
Hi, everybody. My name's Destiny Dorismond. My dad was Patrick Dorismond. That's it, no.
Definitely. We like I said, we appreciate you coming to chop it up with us. What's your feelings around this time right now with all this madness that's going
on? For me personally, it's very triggering, and I know for like a lot of people, like Eric Garner's family, Sean Bell's family, anybody that was a victim of police brutality, I know their family is feeling it now more than ever. And even if, you know, your family hasn't been a victim of police brutality, you as a Black person, like, it's weird for you not to feel it, you know? So
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely triggering, and it needs to stop.
It definitely needs to stop. It's been going on for way too long.
Yeah.
You want to tell for people who might not know and for people who might see this, tell your dad's story?
Yeah. So March 16, 2000, my dad was killed by the NYPD. The way it happened, like the circumstances around it, he was coming from a bar with his friend, and a cop approached them, asking, you know, where can they get drugs? And my dad and his friends like, we don't know. The cop kept pushing and tried to, you know, just pressure my dad. Where can I get drugs? Where can I get drugs? And when my dad didn't have drugs, he didn't sell drugs, he didn't do drugs, and he kept putting it on him. And eventually it started to an argument, and they started to scuffle. And then the cop, who didn't identify himself at all, he, you know, shot my dad and killed him that night, trying to pressure him. Where can he get drugs when he told you, I don't know? And instead of walking away, he kept doing it, provoking. So
yeah, that's unfortunate. I remember that, you know, like it was yesterday. And
yeah.
Similar to now, you know, it triggered a lot in New York City and Flatbush, especially. You know, everything kind of spilled over. How old were you when this happened?
I was only 1 when this happened. I was 1 year old.
You was 1 year old. Wow. Yeah, it's a lot had triggered similar to this time, with like a lot of the tension with police and things like that. Just thinking about it now, having this conversation with you kind of, you know, brings that back. What are your feelings towards law enforcement in general?
Many people would want me to say that, you know, F all cops and stuff like that, because there are not every cop is bad, but when you're silent and, you know, your fellow partner or officer is committing the crimes, then, you know, that makes you a bad cop. Like, once you turn the other ear, that makes you a bad cop. I feel like something has to be done, because it's been going on for way too long, and not any like petty little law that they could make a loophole around it. You know, there needs to be strict enforcement. There need to be background checks on people that you're hiring to become officers, more Black officers, and you know, mental checks. That's important too. You need to dig deeper. Where did they have, you know, fellow cases against them and stuff like that. So way stricter laws need to be enforced, and we need to get more, you know, Black people on the line that are gonna stand up with our community and not against them. Because, you know, sometimes there are Black cops that don't do anything. So, you know, we need to have more people that are with us that are taking the law enforcement job.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I was going to ask you if you would be a police officer.
Me personally, I would never be a police officer, because
but you do. I mean, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't be one because I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm interested in, like, you know, helping people and protecting. Like, I think it's something to stand for. That's strong. You know, if you want to do that, kudos to you. But me personally, like, I wouldn't be one, but I do want to be more of an advocate for change. Like, you know what I mean? If that makes sense. Yeah.
No, it definitely makes sense. you know, I heard you say, you know, I heard you say you encourage people, especially that, you know, that look like us to do it. I think so as well, because we need more people that look like us to understand our psychological, you know, side of things. And I think that's important. And I think that's definitely important for people to hear you say that. A lot of reform needs to be made, like you said, different laws. I personally think that laws need to be a bit stricter for police, you know, due to the fact that, you know, you took an oath, you know what I'm saying? A quote unquote criminal could get time for murder, but they never took an oath to say they wasn't going to kill nobody, you understand? So, you know, but for a cop, that should be double the time now, you know, double the time, because they actually said they took an oath to protect and serve, so.
And then and then it's just weird. It's because, you know, they use the phrase like, oh, we fear, or we were scared, or, you know, when do you actually see more, you know, like, what if I'm wrong, somebody correct me, but when do you see a statistics that Black people are killing cops? You know what I mean? Like,
definitely.
where are the facts on that? Because it's like, oh, I was fearful. So it's like, why be a cop? Like, you know, you have to put your life on the line for that. You know, people who join the army, I'm pretty sure they're scared, but they still do it. Like,
definitely.
So,
A part of it is training too. A part of that reform that we need to have is training, because I think they train them to be fearful. They train them to be scared. One thing people don't realize, and people might not know, is that when an officer comes to give you a ticket, or every encounter with you, they're required to touch the back of your vehicle if they pull you over. They got to put their hand on the back of your vehicle just in case something happens and you do something to them. Their print. But why would you train people to think that every time they get out of their vehicle that they could get killed, and they would be on high alert? So I think things like that need to be balanced out too. And that mental check is crazy. Did you know I was doing some research. The guy, officer, I don't even want to call him an officer, but Anthony Vasquez, he was accused of road rage in like 27 when he pulled the gun.
Yes. I've definitely done my research. I had made a YouTube video. If you guys didn't see it, the link is in my bio. But like I said, these things are very triggering. So as growing up, I will always like try to see, like, who was the cop that, you know, killed my dad. So I found him, and it was stuff coming up. In 2007, he had road rage. He was in a domestic violence case, and
I saw that too.
It was like, it's a lot. He was known for being aggressive, and I was like stunned, because it's like, after the whole situation, people rioting and people, you know, standing up in 2000 with my dad, why is he still a cop? Like, why is, like, I don't know.
That's a whole nother problem. A lot of times we got to get these affidavits signed, and we got to get their bond. Because once we get their bond that insures them and does different things like that, we can stop them from being a cop totally any place in the country. I think that's important. That's important. And a lot of people just don't know, I think. So, you know, we're gonna have, you know, people like you and people that have a voice, you know, definitely educate people over time.
Yeah.
But that goes back to what you were saying about like mental health, because clearly that guy Anthony Vasquez wasn't in his right mind. Like, if it's still, this was a pattern. And in my reading, they were saying that they tried to say that it was because of the incident in 2000 in March. Like, oh, after that he became, no, he was a nut job before that.
Before that, because if you were trained properly, you would know to, you know, de-escalate in a situation, especially as a cop.
Especially a situation you started.
Right, exactly. If you see somebody is, you know, getting upset because you're provoking them, then you need to walk away. But I don't know. Apparently, after that situation, you know, he went crazy after that. But truth is, he was like that before it. So,
what type of like, I know, like, this is going on right now. I know you said this is like a trigger for you. So just let me know if I, you know, if I ask anything, or if I, you know, you want to stop at any point. But what happens like after, like, the cameras, after the rioting, after, because people get quiet. There's no cameras. There's no more hashtags. Like, what happens at that point? Like, you know what I'm saying?
At that point, it's like, there are very few people who still advocate for you and still march, and maybe not necessarily march, but they try to get laws in place. But you know, even now, like the George Floyd thing and all the black injustices, it's starting to quiet down a little bit. People are still marching, but I remember, you know, when it happened, social media was going crazy. Everybody was dedicating posts to it, and like
Yep.
now it kind of died down a little bit in a way. I'm not gonna say a lot, but the family has to really go through the trauma. You know, it's you can march, you can fight, but it's like, what about the family? You know, we still think about it. I mean, with time, it gets better, but for the family aspect, like we still have to live through that trauma. We still have to be reminded day by day. Like every time this comes up, like George Floyd, Eric Garner, anybody that comes up, we have to think about, damn, this happened to me. Or, you know, it's very triggering. The names popping up, never forget. And then there's a list of people, you see your dad's name, and just like, ugh. So, you know, this is something that needs to continue. You have to continue pushing it. Like, it's not going to stop. Because as soon as it goes to dark, something else is going to come up in a couple of years, you know?
Definitely, definitely. And like you said before, it's so many different ways. You know, I wasn't against people burning stuff down, burn it down. But also remember there's a balance to it. Let's get to the courthouses,
Yeah.
like you said. Let's start the reform teams. You know, let's get other teams in effect to rebuild and you know, start all over and do different things we gotta do to rebuild the community. So
Yeah.
I think all of these steps are important. Did the city at all, like, how does that work? Does the city reach out? Does the city check up? Does the city do anything over the years after
I
something like that?
haven't got any checked up, nothing. They just, nothing.
Wow. What about therapy? What's your thoughts on therapy?
For me, I'm talking about more
Of
personal,
course.
because I can't speak for everybody, but recently in my like 20s, I'm 21, so I'm gonna say like 19, 20. I recently, you know, started going to therapy
That's good.
and talking about the trauma of it, because even though I was one, there's still I'm kind of thankful in a way. This might sound weird. I'm kind of thankful in a way I was 1 years old instead of being 9 or 6, because I feel like it would have been worse. You know, my dad knew me, but I didn't know him. So it's like, damn, like why did they my reason for going to therapy is, damn, why did somebody do that to me? Or why did they feel like the need to kill him? And why would, you know, Giuliani say these things about my dad? Like, I had to grow up learning about my dad through stories and not personal, you know, experiences. And it hurts more when you find out, okay, you know, your dad wants to be in your life, because, you know, everybody thinks, you know, black fathers are deadbeats. But when you know and you have proof that, you know, your father wanted to be in your life and he couldn't be in your life because somebody killed him, that's what hurts more. And that's kind of what like messed up my mind a little bit. So therapy definitely helps, but it's something, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Would you
I
encourage?
advise, you know, anybody to, I advise everybody who's been through this, who's been around this, definitely go to therapy, especially in the black community. They think that, you know, your mental health, oh, you're fine, whatever, you'll get over it. But, you know, people, that's really emotionally scarring. So it
Right.
is very important to, you know, seek therapy and never forget, try to keep their memory alive,
That's a
because
fact.
it's scarring. It's
That's the
scarring.
key right there. That is a key right there. Definitely say the name. You know, a lot of fallen loved ones from Flatbush. You know, we are Flatbush. We definitely vowed to keep people's names alive, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we are definitely a family in Flatbush. So
Yeah.
that's key right there.
Mm-hmm.
A saying that people say nowadays is, I think it goes, be that change that you want to see. Like, right? What would you? What's that? What would you equate that to for yourself? What would you want to? What would you want to do?
I actually like that quote. So I would say, okay, be that change that you want to be. So yeah, that my thing is speaking up. For a long time, like I haven't really came out about it or voiced my opinion. You know, people would tell me like, you gotta say something, you gotta do something. No matter how many times people pressure you, you won't do it until you feel ready, because that's not something that you just, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, it's something that you have to be willing to talk about. And if you told me a few years ago, I wouldn't even be on this live, because I try to brush it under the rug. But for some reason, this case really, like I said, I'm gonna keep mentioning it, is very triggering.
Mm-hmm.
So, Yeah, definitely. If you want to see change, you have to speak up, even if it's just you, because eventually people will join the bandwagon, but there's a difference between joining the bandwagon and believing in the bandwagon.
That's a
So you definitely need to, speak up. So I agree with that.
Yeah, the more I think a lot of people are speaking up. I'm super proud of people your age right now. At your age, we was definitely ready to wild out only.
Yeah.
Like we was ready to turn up and turn out only. Nowadays
Yeah.
you guys got beautiful people like you. Like my son. There's a lot of young people that's out here really thinking out of the box and real constructive. And I have a lot of hope for the future with that. We had spoke. We had was in touch earlier a little bit about. I know we had spoke about you doing a nonprofit you wanted to do. Talk about
So I was hoping that one day, I don't have any like written down plans as of now, but I will definitely try to get to it. But I wanted to do like a nonprofit organization to children who have lost their fathers or their mothers, because these cops is going after women too now.
Everybody getting it.
Children of the victims, like people, like what about us? And I'm glad that George Floyd's daughter is getting the attention that she needs to get, and people are helping her, because it's gonna be tough for her growing up. Like, you're gonna realize like all of this went on because of your dad. And when I see her, I'm like, damn, like this happened to me too. Like, people were marching and rioting, and it's just like enough is enough. And I hope to like one day cross paths with her, Sean Bell's daughters, anybody who's been who had children and being a victim of it, because it's just like, what about us? Like you said, when it dies down, at the end of the day, it's all on us. Like, we have to go to bed at night thinking like, damn, why? So hopefully one day I could start a non-profit organization where we speak out, we help each other, check on each other's mental health and stuff like that.
Definitely. I see some people in the comments was asking how they can support. So I definitely want y'all to, hit us up. We always around. She's always around. Ideas. We got a lot of people, a lot of attorneys, a lot of different people in the mix. We want to make that happen. You just spoke it into existence. So it's not something you're going to try to do. You speak well, you're passionate, so we got your back. We definitely got your back in Flatbush. What are some of the things that, like, what are some of the kind of programs that you would see kind of doing, like just trying like a support group, or maybe add some therapy to that? Like, what are some of your ideas? Maybe let's build
definitely. It's more of a support group.
Okay.
But if I'm being honest, hopefully there's a change when it comes to law enforcement and police brutality. But with the president we have, and the way the government is set up, hopefully one day it won't happen. But if it does, and the next victim, we can come together and support that victim. Like, hey, we understand what you're going through. Better like mental health networking. Most of all, like a support group. And let's stop. Like, these are children. These are the faces of the victim's daughters and the victim's sons.
Brutality,
yeah.
And that's real. I mean, even if it's not another one to happen, I hope nobody else passes away at the hands of police.
Yeah.
You guys can support each other for life, because that support is going to be forever needed. You know what I'm saying? You guys are always going to need that. So, that's definitely, you definitely got your hands, full in the right way with that.
Yeah.
As far as police reform, what do you feel about like the defunding conversation with the police? How do you feel about that?
Defund them, like, honestly, like, it is what it is. There needs to be more money raised towards Black youth in the community, and programs and stuff. I go to a predominantly white college, so it's like when I go there, where I come from is a different world. Like, I don't get these funds for this program or that program. It's rarely you see any of Flatbush teams going D1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or kids from this local high school going D1. They always have to go the extra mile, and I think that's always going to be something for the Black people in general. We always have to go the extra mile just to be at the same where white people are.
Always.
But defund them and invest into something different. Like, if you're defunding the police who's enforcing crime where there's no crime, and you're actually funding money into the low income areas, then maybe there would, most likely there's going to be a better outcome. Like,
Of course.
so yeah, I agree with that. Definitely defund them. Like,
Yeah,
they
prevention is better than cure. So people
yeah,
hear defund and they think, you know, the police force will be broke. They'll fire people. No, that just means they won't have tanks. They won't have 1,000
right,
bulletproof vests where, you know,
right.
they're not, like you said before, they're not always walking out the door getting shot at. So that's
Exactly.
Have you ever got called for jury duty?
I've never got called for jury duty.
How you feel about jury duty? Any thoughts on it?
I don't know. I know about it, but I don't really have a take on it.
I got you.
Maybe because I never did it before. I've always heard about it. I don't know. It depends on what cases there are too. Like,
Right.
I don't think I could sit through a police brutality case. Maybe like trafficking tickets, maybe at most, but I don't think I could sit through that.
Yeah, I mean, I was asking because, you know, definitely around that age, I feel like a lot of people don't want to go to jury duty, and I think we need us on the jury a lot. But I just feel like their thinking is really dope, and you know, I was asking, I know they would probably front on you because of your background, thinking that you would probably be spiteful, but you know, the way you're thinking is, you know, you seem your energy is great. You know what I mean? I know you probably would do your thing. Definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind sitting in one. Definitely to, you know, bring justice, because it's definitely to bring justice, because there's a lot of people that got away with injustices, like George Zimmerman for one. I don't know how he's still out.
Like Anthony Vasquez for two.
Right. That's another. That's a. Yeah. So.
You know, we actually got hit up a couple of times, you know, asking to reach out to you. People actually was like, you know, checking for you and things like that. A good friend of mine had reached out. He was like, you know, one of the things we could try to do is press charges on these officers that never got found guilty, that never was even brought up on charges, because there's a lot of people that never got brought up on charges. I'm not sure with Anthony Vasquez. I think it went to the grand jury, if I'm not mistaken, but that might be another plan as well.
Yeah. If people do push for that, you know, you have all rights too. But in a way, I heard like not recently, but a little shortly after, you know, my dad's passing, something actually happened to his son. Like, his son actually passed away. So it's kind of weird how the universe works. How it's crazy. So I don't know. Hopefully he's living his karma right now, but yeah, if people want to push for that, y'all got my back. Like, y'all got my blessing. Go for it.
Yeah, you say you gonna let karma handle that, huh?
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Definitely.
That's dope.
Definitely.
And karma definitely will bite you in the ass too.
Yes,
so
it will.
It doesn't forget anything. I definitely appreciate you. I'm glad I had a chance to talk to you. Flatbush is proud of you. I'm gonna check in with you. You know, definitely if we hear anything, because I know people are gonna be hitting us on the inbox. And let me see, what did your grandma told me, Judge? Boom. Somebody said your grandma did it and told the judge what happened, and he dismissed her. There's been a lot of stuff flying through these comments and stuff. So, but I know that people are going to be reaching out and with different resources and things like that. So you definitely be hearing from We Are Flatbush. It was definitely great chopping up with you. Leave us with a message though, perhaps maybe for some people out there that might be going through what you went through.
I just wanted to say, like, with time it gets better, and you don't have to say anything you don't want to. Don't let anybody pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do. Stick up against the injustices, and don't let it, even though it does happen, unfortunately, like, if you see something, say something. Don't be afraid to pull out your phone. Like, we're lucky we have phones in this era, because when my dad was passed, we didn't have iPhones. We didn't have any of that. So it was just all word of mouth. And now that we are able to have that and, have access to that, use your voice, use your phone. If you can't get out and protest, you know, social media is huge. Speak on it. And, you know, if you are of white ethnicity, don't be silent, especially, you know, if you love our culture and you love our people and the things that we are doing, speak up, you know. So don't ever let nobody tell you to be quiet. Speak about it, and with time, everything will get better.
How do you feel? Do you feel optimistic about the future and the way things are going, even though it's dark right
Yes,
now? How do you feel about?
yes. Our generation is like, we're not, you know, our ancestors. Like, we're not taking that. Like, it's people going to war. People with rubber bullets in their eyes. People are going to war. Like, this has to stop. But the only thing is, y'all cannot be, you know, a protester one day and an advocate and then silent the next day and just scrolling on your feed, posting everything else. You know, just do not be silent. You don't got to post it on your post every day, but post it on your story. Let them know, you know, you're still aware. So don't be silent.
Stay in
You
the
got to
community. Stay in the community with it too. A lot of people, there's a lot of
yeah.
programs in the community that's speaking out, there's lobbying numbers. We spoke with the senator here at We Are Flatbush, and he said things happen in numbers. So if it's 100 people saying the same thing, 200 people saying the same thing, that energy is really, really powerful and really, really strong, and that's how you get heard. All of our voices together.
Definitely.
Well, I appreciate you, sis. Like I said, you're gonna be definitely hearing from us. Any resources we have, you have, you know, definitely reach out to any of us here. We are Flatbush, and you be well. Keep speaking out. You know, definitely.
Thank you so much. Alrighty.
All right.